All right. So I guess I don't know if you need to have any introduction, but Stephen Curtis Chapman, the man with three names. I think you were the
I
first
know.
that went by three names. What's up with that?
Well, now Michael W. Smith was maybe a year or two, a couple of years ahead of me. So, W, isn't necessarily a full name, but it's that counts, right? Um, it is funny because I am the most non three name guy that I know as far as as thinking, hey, I need a cool stage name. When I started this, I wrote in a song recently, underneath my skin, I've really always just been just a boy who comes from where the bluegrass grows in Kentucky, a Kentucky boy, and so to have three names and use my middle name was a bit of a stretch. But what happened is when I first made my move to Nashville and started writing songs and making my first record, there is a couple, Steve and Annie Chapman,
Oh yeah.
that some people would remember, who have made music for many years. And in fact, when I was a young man, I would say kid, but they get mad at me. But when I was a young man, I had an album by a group called Dogwood. It was an early Christian music, early CCM, record by this group called Dogwood, and it was Steve and Annie Chapman and another guy. There were three of them, and so I always thought that's so cool. Here's another Steve Chapman that makes music. But when I came to Nashville, there was confusion as to, am I their son? Am I them? What is this music from Steve Chapman? That doesn't sound like Steve Chapman music we know. And so they said, look, that's a problem. It's going to be confusing, and we need to differentiate you somehow from the other Steve Chapman. What do you want to do? We got to change your name. And I was like, that's going to be really weird. I mean, how do I change my name to, what? And had I thought it through, I've been envious through the years of my friend who now is with Jesus, but I knew Carmen very well when he was here, and I can't believe he's not with us any longer. And I think of Toby Mac. These guys were really smart to come up with very short names because you do sign it a lot over the time. And so I instead come up with Steven Curtis Chapman. But um, it was the only thing I could come up with that felt at least sort of organic and real. Was, well, I'll just use my name. I don't want to change my name to some name that I'm not. So, let's go with Stephen Curtis Chapman. So that's how it happened. And here it is all these years later, still stuck with it.
Well, it was interesting because when I first became a Christian, and you were one of the first people that I heard, I was like, oh, three names. I guess I just didn't grow up in that. And so I didn't realize that people go by
Yeah.
three names. And then as more I learn
Yeah.
about the radio industry, the more I get it.
Right. Yeah. I know. You start to go, well, okay, there are a few of those three name, people floating around. But yeah, it was like, how do I not be pretentious? And it's like okay, well, hi, Stephen Curtis Chapman. I'm Bill Eugene Smith, or whatever. Everybody kind of feels like, am I supposed to use my middle name too? So it was a little weird, but I just like, well, we'll just go with it. And it's been okay.
Yeah. Now you do have ties to Ohio. Your wife is from Ohio, correct?
Yes, I absolutely love Ohio. It is home, it is second home, maybe third home, I would say now, because, of course, growing up in Kentucky, which is, just underneath, and then living in Nashville, my wife and I now for 37 years. But Ohio is where the love of my life was born and raised, and I've spent a lot of time in Springfield, Ohio, between Columbus and Dayton. And in fact, if you listen to my music through the years, you would hear references. Sitting in a traffic jam just a few miles south of Cincinnati, Ohio, is in a lyric of a song of mine. So made many trips back and forth from Nashville to Ohio, and so got a lot of love for the people there.
Yeah. Springfield is just below our signals. The top part of Springfield gets one of our signals
Really? Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
across the state, but you're going to be coming to our Mansfield signal, which is really
Yes.
awesome on April. No, that's March 24th.
Yes.
Had so
Yes.
many concerts in my brain. This, Okay, back up. Did you tour
Mhm.
during the pandemic?
Well, so I desperate out of desperation, what's the saying? Desperate times
Desperate measures.
requires desperate measures. Yeah, something like that. So myself and the aforementioned Michael W. Smith and Mac Powell, can't remember his Johnny Mac Powell, I think is his name actually. Mac Powell, lead singer of Third Day fame and great solo artist and dear friend of mine. The three of us got our heads together and said, look, we really, not only do we need to play and sing these songs, we feel like there are some people that need to hear the truth of our songs and the messages and be reminded because it's a dark, heavy time. And so we we together decided, and someone had the idea, let's go do drive-in theaters because people can stay in their cars and be, kind of separated. And several artists then, began to do that. And so we did a drive-in theater tour together during the pandemic, and it was awesome. I love those guys. They're brothers. We were the Three Amigos. In fact, we opened the concert with the song from the Three Amigos movie, and we sang "On the Road Again." The three of us did the old Willie Nelson "On the Road Again." So we had, as you could tell, a lot of fun with that. Then, and boy, this will always be an incredibly special thing for me. I got to spend time on the last tour with our dear friend with Jesus now, Jay Weaver, and I was with Big Daddy Weave for Jay's final tour, and he, got to spend time. I knew them, but had not ever toured, so that was so much a gift, to get to spend time with those guys, particularly with Jay. Um, and with Mike, just the most wonderful guys, and just can't believe Jay's gone now. And so that was another drive-in theater tour. So we found a way during that, but because we just needed to be with the people, this is obviously so thankful to be back in, venues like I'm in tonight, and we'll be there in Mansfield, and just the saying is you don't know what you got till it's gone, and I will say that is so true because once we couldn't tour for a while, um you really miss it and miss just being with people and getting to sing these songs. I've needed it in my own soul just to
Yeah.
sing my Redeemer is faithful and true, and this is a great adventure in its mountains and its valleys, and all of those things that I've said in my songs over the years.
Yeah. I love that. And how is the family, by the way? How did you guys fare and how are you doing now?
Well, we are we're doing well. We everybody, had our am I still there? Sorry. I touched my screen and you went away from it. Everyone in our family at one point or another did have their battle with COVID, and thankfully no one really had a serious I'm trying to think. Yeah, just about everybody. I think Shoei, our daughter Shoei, for whatever reason, she was the one that was bulletproof and did not get COVID. But thankfully, all of our cases were pretty mild, um, and uh, we we've been doing well. My wife's sister, she has one sister and one brother in Ohio, in Springfield, and a little well, it's only been about 6 months ago. Her husband, Barry Morris, passed away. It was not COVID. He's 62 years old, just beginning to enjoy his retirement. Had one grandson and just beautiful, wonderful, kind man. Um, Developed geoblastomas, I think they call them, cancerous brain tumors, and just came so quick and took him very quickly. And we grieved that during the pandemic,
Wow.
and as well as a keyboard player of mine for many, many years, Brian Green, whose wife, actually, Wendy, used to be a part of the group Sierra, a group that recorded Christian music. And Brian's played on many albums and written songs for many artists. A wonderful, again, incredible, dear friend, 60 years old, and did pass away from COVID complications. So it has definitely impacted our family in that way, and but thankfully, my girls, we're empty nest now. Mary Beth and I sent
Ooh,
our last one from the nest in the fall. Stevie Joy is in Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, cheering a cheerleader for the University of Alabama uh,
Nice.
team, which is cool and so much fun for us. And we've been while we're empty nesting, we're making a lot of trips to Tuscaloosa because that's also where Shoei is as a graduate student now at the University of Alabama as well.
Grow up so
Uh,
fast. My goodness.
that crazy? Our six grandchildren, we had them all. We had, well, three of them yesterday. It was Pop Pops and Grammy Day, back in at home before I jumped on the tour bus. So we got to spend time with them. They're doing great, and my boys are in the studio, Caleb and Will, with their band Colony House, recording some new music. And they actually were just in the recording studio with me about a month ago because I kind of hornswoggled them in. That's a Paducah word if you don't know that. I kind of cornered them into helping me produce some songs for my new album that I'm working on, which was so exciting for me to get them involved. So yeah, that's been exciting.
That's my next question. I mean, how much music have you been writing over the last few years? What's next?
A lot. I've like a lot of us creative people who process things via songs. It was my way of really processing through the pandemic, the craziness just politically, you know, in our world, racially, all those things that have stirred so much in all of us. And now even I'm singing. I will give a sneak peek of one new song. I know new songs when you've got a volume of material people want to hear. I
Right.
go to concerts, where people, hey, I'm going to play a new song, and you can kind of see everybody. Oh, potty break. Let's go get popcorn. I want to hear the hits. But we've got some new songs and things that I really have been just conversations that I've really wanted to have with my friends who have been on the journey with me for all these years, and things that I feel like I can only say now, at this point in my life that I couldn't have said, wouldn't have had the perspective to say even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. So I do have quite a few new songs, and just had a meeting actually last week with the radio team. I'm actually signing a new record deal with Provident, and so I had all of those guys in. Hadn't heard any new music, and I got to unveil 7 or 8 new songs for them. And so I got to admit, I'm pretty excited to get to have 35 years from the release of my first album this year. On my 35th anniversary, I'm gonna share some new music with folks, and I will give a sneak peek of a new song um, that's just been heavy on my heart, a prayer that I think is so timely right now. In fact, because the title of the song is "Peace on Earth: The Desperate Benediction," and it feels like a time now with all that's going on in the Ukraine and how heavy all of our hearts are for that. This is a prayer and a cry of all of us. So I'll share that in Mansfield in the concert coming up.
Wow, looking forward to that. Yeah, I like I said, I grew up listening to some of these, and I have memories with all the songs too. But I don't mind listening to new songs, so we'll be good.
Good. Thank you. Because yeah, I know it's a kind of a two-edged sword. It's like I'm so excited about it, and people are like, "But I'm so excited to hear the Great Adventure," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that. But can I do one new one?" So we'll
I guess
sneak it in there.
that brings me to my next question. You got this evening planned. What's the goal of the evening? Because yeah, there's people who have years of memories with you and how a song has
Right.
touched their life, and you want to go. I want to give you all of the stuff, not just the old
Right.
stuff. So,
Right.
what is your
Yeah.
goal for the evening?
It is tricky. It is a challenge, but it's a challenge I am happy to accept and face. And um, this tour, obviously through the years, I've had so many tours. Some of them have been really focused on a particular album with a few, other hits, and then some are focused on, you know, uh, and my most recent tour was a solo tour with just me and a guitar, really telling my story from the beginning and using songs to kind of weave it all together. So it was really more a night of stories and some songs. I mean, fair amount of songs. But this tour, this evening with, I have a couple of other musicians on stage. between the three of us, there are probably about 10 instruments because these guys are incredible musicians, multi instrumentalists. So we've got everything from, cello, violin, fiddle, upright bass, mandolin,
Wow.
banjo sneaks in even because the bluegrass music I love, piano, guitars everywhere. So it's a lot of music. And my goal with this is honestly just to you know do as much get it touch on as many songs as I can that people have been on the journey with me for years
Yeah.
would go, oh gosh, I remember where I was, and that oh, it reminds me. And but what
Yeah.
I love about the music I get to sing is that not only every time I'm reminding people, it's not just like, oh, a great old country song that takes me back to when I was, or a great rock and roll song takes me back to high school, but the message in the music, because of what I am uniquely privileged to do with Christian music, is that the messages are not just remembering where we've been, but it's remembering where we're going. It's remembering the hope that we have for this moment. So even
That's
if I'm singing a song from 30 years ago, it's like, man, I need to hear that right now. My Redeemer is faithful and true today.
yes.
So that's what I love about these concerts, that I get to, remember forwards and backwards, I guess, in a way.
Well, really looking forward to this evening. It's going to be such a great walk through time, and then just to be able to see you doing your thing again. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I am very excited and can't wait to get to Ohio. I love me some Ohio.
Well, you better. That's just, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. OH. Even though I'm a roll tide guy now, I have to be because I've where all my money is going. So I have to support the Crimson Tide. I
I was
still
gonna
have a
say,
great love for Ohio, and we were cheering for the Bengals, even though you beat the Titans. We were cheering for them. So
yeah, yeah. And my son is the same way. He's always split between Roll Tide and Buckeyes.
really, oh yeah, yeah. We get in a lot of trouble. We're pretty house divided because my wife's parents, my father-in-law, Mary Beth's dad, has been a big, Ohio State Buckeye fan for years and years, and a Cleveland Browns fan. So, he's like diehard. So, we've had a little bit of conflict in the house between, being Roll Tide and Ohio State, especially when they played each other.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, it's been really wonderful to talk to you. I can't wait to be at the concert in Mansfield at Crossroads Church on the 24th of this month. And
Yep. Yep.
thanks for all that you do, that all that you bring to music and into our lives.
Thank you. Well, it's great talking with you. Thanks for the time, and we will see you guys very soon.